All right, good morning, everybody. Looks like we are good to go. Just going to do a quick refresher, just making sure everything comes up the way that it needs to. But this is Paint with Lovejoy, and this is our daily demo. I'm going to be doing a rainbow unicorn this morning, and this is a viewer request. So if you have something that you'd like me to paint in the future, please leave a comment, um, and I will put that on the list. So a little bit of what you're looking at today, we do have our traceable image already transferred on here. And at the end of the video, I will upload the traceable to my website, and my first time painters, if you want to purchase that, and then you can use carbon paper to transfer this onto your canvas. Or what I actually recommend is pause the video, draw what you see, and then pick up this video to start painting once you've got your image on there. But the traceables that you can purchase are for my beginner painters, and it takes away some of that frustration at the beginning stages of painting. So with today's painting, we're going to do kind of a light blue background. We'll give her some green grass to hang out in. I'm going to keep her fur pretty light, and then we're going to do a rainbow tail, mane, and then we will do a rainbow unicorn in there. But as always, with any of my paintings, feel free, change this out, make it your own. If you don't want to do a rainbow, but you want to do shades of blue, change it out and just use this as the base for your painting. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and jump in and get started. I'm going to start with my middle-sized brush because I am on an 8x10 canvas, and I'm going to start with the blue background. So I'm pulling some of that white aside. A tiny amount of pigment goes a long way, and I kind of want to keep this in the pastel range today. So I'm keeping this super, super light blue. And you can tell that I am reusing a canvas. So if you are a beginner painter and you don't want to spend a whole lot of money on canvases and you just want a lot of practice, you can do what we call re-gesso or reuse a canvas. And there is a link in the description box below on how to do that. And like I said, it's just a nice way so you're not spending so much money on canvases, and then that way you can still get a lot of practice in while you paint. And I like doing it just because I don't want tons of canvases all over my house. And as I'm doing these daily demos, the canvases do start adding up. All right, so as you're painting, you can try your brush in a few different directions. You can do the full width, you can do it sideways or make X marks. That actually happens to be my favorite mark making. And I am going right over my lines. So you do want to cover up any of the lines from the traceable as you are painting. And if you happen to paint over something, like maybe you paint over the ear like that, don't stress. We can let this dry and you can put more paint on top of it and fix that. So with acrylic paint, there's a lot of wiggle room. So it is a good medium to start with to get into the groove of painting and then dive into inks or watercolors or even oils, but get comfortable with it with acrylic paint. Now, if you are painting on a stretched canvas like this, I do recommend that you carry the color over the tops, the sides, and even the bottom. That way it looks nice when you hang it on the wall, having that color wrap around the edge. And as you're applying your background, if you have to mix your color 2 or 3 or 4 times, don't stress, go right ahead and mix your color. And if there's a little bit of variation, don't stress about it. Having a little variety in your background is to your benefit. And each time that you mix your color, your brain's taking on more information of what it looks like when you mix that color, what it feels like with the pressure of your brush and the paint. So your brain's taking in a lot of information each time that you paint. So be kind to yourself as you are painting. And with that being said, if you are painting along with me and you're holding your breath right now, even if you're just watching and holding your breath, take a big inhale for me, relax, let it all out. This is just painting. It is never the end of the world. And here you can see I actually went right over her little eyelash. We will reapply that towards the end. And I actually might give her purple eyelashes because I did not put any black on my plate. We're going to be doing this one with without black. And if you've watched a few of the other demos, you know that in art school, I've mentioned that they do train us to create our composition and our painting without using black. And you can use a combo of different colors to make your dark spaces. All right, so while this is wet, I want a few places, and I do like having the ground a little bit darker, or right where the sky meets the ground. So I'm grabbing some more blue paint, and I'm going to go a little bit darker, probably about a medium blue. And then right where that ground is, I'm going to put a little line right there. I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. And actually, let's make sure that those are even. So you can kind of just hover above your other line and then see, so that way I'm going to make sure grass goes in that area. And then let's see, let's just maybe another little dollop of darker blue paint in there, and then I'm going to wipe my brush off. And then while your background's still wet and this new paint that you introduced, you can just move your brush back and forth, play with it. If you're realizing going, oh, maybe that's darker than I want, go back and grab your white, slap it on there, and then same thing, you just kind of mix it in there. This is literally exactly what you did on your plate to mix your initial color, but you're just doing it in your background instead, and it's a nice place to play. And if you need to, you can add a touch of water, and that will help with your mixing, but just keep in mind you never want your brush dripping wet with water. All right, now I get a chance to look over at any comments. Awesome. Hi, Janet. Hi, Adrian. Thanks for coming out and hanging out with me on a Saturday morning. All right. If you guys have any questions, feel free to let me know. Otherwise, I'll just kind of keep painting along and answer whatever you guys need. All right, so I'm going to clean the brush really good, and we're going to move into yellow and green, and we're going to give some grass for our unicorn to hang out on. So do clean it pretty good. I'm going to make a new pile about right here, so I'm going to grab green, and I like a bit more spring green, so I'm going to grab some yellow. That looks pretty good. If you want to add a little more yellow to yours, you can. Totally your call. And we're going to be doing the same thing that we did in the sky, filling it in. And as you can see, I am using student grade paint. So it is kind of on the transparent side, as you can still see the canvas shining through. So if you grab a big chunk of paint, apply it a little bit thicker. It'll take a little longer to dry, but you'll have a little more opaque coverage. I'm actually just going to grab that straight green. We'll throw a little bit of yellow on there in a minute. And again, if you happen to go over the hooves or over those lines, totally okay. And if you are trying to paint a little bit thicker, you want to use less pressure, because more pressure is going to bring those brush strokes closer to the canvas, and then that's where you get some of that transparency. Throw a little more yellow in there. I think we'll have to reapply before we get to our rainbow colors for our unicorn. And again, just like right here, you can paint over anything that wasn't working for you earlier. And as you paint, I highly recommend that you trust your instincts. Your instincts are naturally pushing you in the direction you need to go. And if you trust those and you end up not liking what you painted, you just let it dry and paint over it again. So your gut instincts are a big part of your creative effort. So start learning to hear those and recognize what you're feeling, what you're thinking while you're creating, and going in those directions that you're inclined to go in. All right, so we're going to have a little bit of a shadow underneath our unicorn. So I'm going to take a little bit of that blue, grabbing just the straight blue, and again, we're imagining that we've got a shadow right underneath the belly, right underneath the legs, and I am applying it kind of thick on there, and then we're going to do that wet on wet blending method and pull some of that blue into the green. So I'm wiping the brush off, and then with light pressure, just kind of pulling that blue into the green, and you'll notice it starts to change colors a little bit. And if it's too much to kind of move your brush, you can do kind of a stabbing method, kind of a pointillism method, and that kind of helps blend the two colors together. So try both. See what works for you. If you're inclined to even finger paint and move it around with your hands, go right ahead and do that. I'm going to grab a little more green. You can go back and forth. And then get in the habit, get out of your chair, prop your painting up, look at your painting from a distance of about 5 to 10 feet away. And that is more of the normal viewing distance. And you can assess if you like or dislike anything from that distance and then go back and change what you need. So grabbing some of that yellow, we're going to do the same thing, but putting a highlight on our grass. Put a little bit here and a little bit over there. Same thing, wipe your brush off, and you can either do the smearing method or the stabbing method, whichever one that you need. If you have a lot of anxiety right now, if you're stressed out, the stabbing method is very therapeutic, and that's the one I'd recommend. If you're feeling a little more calm and can handle the light pressure, then maybe try the smearing with the light pressure. Totally your call. And one day you may try one method, the other day you need the other method. Adjust for what you need each day when you are painting. All right. So we're going to move into the body, excuse me, the body of our horse, of our unicorn. So that way we can get kind of a good base on there, and then we can put her hair on top of it. So you do want to clean your brush really good. And let's see, you can make your unicorn any color that you want. Let's see, I'm thinking I'm going to keep mine kind of light with maybe a hint of orange. I want to warm it up a little bit. All right, so, and I'm actually thinking of My Little Ponies right now. This wouldn't be a normal color that I would go for, but I think I had a little My Little Pony like this color. And I like the blue, I like the orange with the blue background too. So I'm making a pretty light orange for mine, and we're gonna paint right on top of it. I'm going over those black outlines, and then just like we did in the sky, we're gonna add some darker values on here. And we'll blend into the paint same way. We're kind of building on our skills on this wet on wet blending. All right, remember to breathe. You can apply your paint a little bit thicker. Oops, and if you get some of your other colors in there, you do want to wipe your brush off. You can use a paper towel to wipe off anything extra. If you're following along for the replay, I would recommend letting your grass and your sky dry before you move into doing the colors for your horse. I'm moving right in just because this is a 30-minute demo, so I'm just being very careful of where I'm bringing this lighter color on top of a darker color, because it will change the way your colors look. All right, let's see. So we've got a question. We've got somebody that was drawing the unicorn right now as I'm painting. So I do recommend pause the video, practice drawing what you see. You can even, there's a link in the description box below, and after this is done, I will upload the Traceable. And a Traceable, I think they're $2. You print them out, and then with carbon paper, you can transfer it to your canvas. And I do have a video that shows you how to transfer with carbon paper. If you do not have carbon paper, you can print out your Traceable, and then with a pencil, you scribble the graphite on the back where all the lines would be, and then you flip your canvas, your paper over, put it on top of your canvas, and then with pressure, just like using the carbon paper, you'll press on the lines, and then the graphite that's on the back of that piece of paper, it transfers to your canvas. If you need to, just go to YouTube and Google how to transfer an image. There's a couple of other methods. You can take some wax paper, put it up on a tablet, transfer it, and then you can transfer from the wax paper to that. But like I said, there's a few YouTube videos out there that you can look at, and I'm going to try to make a second one for the graphite transfer, and I'll post that on my page. So right now I've got kind of that nice base creamy color with the white and a touch of orange. Now I'm going in with just the straight white and applying some highlights. So kind of on where the back, the little butt of our unicorn is. We're going to do that kind of hip, and then we're going to get the top of her face, and then we're going to blend this lighter color into the light orange color. And if you need to, you can move down to the smaller pointy brush Awesome. And let's see, yeah, like I said, the traceables are, there's a link below, and I've got tons and tons of traceables from the last couple of years on there. So feel free to check them out and keep painting. I am working on a club for doodles to kind of help you guys learn how to draw. I'm just a solo show, so it takes a while for me to film, edit, narrate, upload, market, so please be patient. But we are, all your suggestions and things that you guys need, I am working on those. Oop, I forgot to do the ears, so let me go back and make my creamy color, that white with just a little bit of orange. And then we'll put some on the ears, and then we got to put some shadows on here. So here you can tell where I put my background color over the ears. So you're just going to take your new color and paint right on top of it and cover the background if you happen to paint in an area where you didn't need that color. All right, so now that creamy orange, I'm just going to add a little bit more orange to it. So we're going a touch darker. And that's going to go on the inside of the ear. Actually, let's switch brushes. So I have a little bit more control. I'm moving down to a pointy brush. We're going to go even a touch darker. And just like we were doing the wet on wet blending in the grass and the sky, I'm just going to be placing the shade on there and then blending it in to the paint. And again, at home, just observe the general area of where I'm placing this color and do your best just to mimic it and place it in a similar area. It does not have to be exactly like mine. And feel free to pause the video if you need to observe a little bit longer if I'm moving too fast. Adjust your learning curve to what you need. All right, let's get a little bit of this shadow underneath her hair. And then again, you wipe your brush off, and then you can come back, and then with that light pressure where the darker and the lighter color meet, you can soften it a little bit. And depending on what type of paint you're using, this may dry faster or slower. So again, you may need to adjust your process to match the paint that you may be using. And that's really kind of half of art, is just adjusting to the materials that you have or the supplies that you have on hand and making the best use of them. Okay, oh, and let's actually go a little bit darker for those hooves. There we go. And actually I want to go just a touch darker. And so sometimes as you're painting, you may realize that you make a color on your plate, and then when you apply it to your canvas, you go, oh, that needs to be a little bit different. Don't be afraid to adjust, you know, because once you apply a color here, it looks different here based on the colors next to it compared to what it looks like on your plate when you mixed it. So again, if you need to adjust, go right ahead and do that. Okay, so just clean up this little hoof a little bit. I'm going to add a bit of a shadow on the hoofs. So I'm going to grab that straight orange and go in a little bit darker where these two hooves meet and the bottom of the hoof. So if you're looking at the hoof, kind of the bottom left-hand side of each little hoof is where we're putting that darker orange. All right. So I'm going to keep with the small pointy brush as we move into the hair and the unicorn, unicorn of our unicorn, the horn of it. All right, so we're actually going to start with our light colors first and work darker. Just makes it a little bit easier. So I'm going to start with light yellow first. So I put a little dot of white here, and I'm grabbing my yellow from a clean spot, so I'm not grabbing any of the green. And then just mixing it in here. And if you want to have different colors compared to where I put them, you do not have to put them in the same spot that I am. And again, if you don't even want to do the rainbow version, you can make the hair color whatever you want. And if you go outside the lines, I do want you covering all those lines, but if you go outside the lines, awesome. Staying inside the lines is highly overrated. All right, so we're going to put some on the top of her hair. We're going to start with the lightest out on the end of the unicorn horn. and some on the tail. Then we're going to stick with that same mixture. Now I'm going to start adding a little bit of orange to it. Very similar to what we were using for the horse, for our unicorn. And again, on the bottom of this, oops, let's go a little bit darker. There we go. Putting it on the bottom of the yellow. And even if you get to the point to where you paint all of these colors in the hair, and then when you're done, you maybe want to switch colors, that's okay too. Just let your paint dry, and then you can put the different color on top of it. All right, so now I'm actually going to grab a little bit of the red. Yeah, you guys can still see it on the screen. We're going to make a little slight pink. Like I said, we are staying a bit more in the pastel area, so it's white with a tiny amount of red. A little bit of red goes a long way. And again, if you're inclined to put a particular color somewhere else, go right ahead and do that. And I will not do it for this one, but at the very end, if you want to re-outline your unicorn, kind of following with what the Traceable showed, or the initial image, feel free to do that. That gives it a bit of a pop art feel when you outline it after you are done painting. All right, so clean your brush really good. We're going to move over to our cool colors. So we're going to start with our light blue, then we'll add a little bit of green and then a little bit of purple and kind of fill up the rest of her hair. So again, I'm pulling some of this white aside. Tiny amount of blue goes a long way, but I do want it a little bit darker than what my sky background is. And actually, maybe not there. Let's start with the tail first. All right, so this blue, I'm actually not going to add a whole lot on there, just because it is so close to the sky color, and I'd rather focus on a few other colors. So just putting it in a few areas right here. And again, as you're doing this and you go, oh, maybe I need a swift of hair here, add to it. All right, so now I'm cleaning the brush again. I'm going to go to, let's see, let's do a light green. And actually, I'm going to start with the yellow. And then a touch of green. There we go. Kind of a nice springy green. I think it'll look better here. Yeah, I like that better next to the blue background, the blue sky. And again, if you're holding your breath as you are painting, remember to exhale as you touch your brush to the canvas, and it'll make it a little bit easier for you. And the more that you paint, the more comfortable that becomes. Oh, and let's see, I actually forgot about the horn. So let's see, we'll do pink there, blue, and then green. So I'm going to go back to those other colors and add them to the unicorn. I'm actually going to do that right now before I move on to the next color. And that happens sometimes. If you end up getting to a point to where you moved ahead and missed a spot, just go back and grab that color and apply. Go darker. All right, and grabbing that pink. And I think on the horn, we'll just make them a little bit darker. And if you go outside the lines, don't worry about it. It just makes your unicorn that much more unique. All right, so let's see now. Ooh, let's get some purple on there. All right, and I'm going for a light purple again. Grabbing a little dollop of white. Tiny amount of purple goes a long way. Remember to breathe. All see, let's get this one on. And I still want to make it a little bit darker. There we go, much better. Okay, and let's get a little bit in that unicorn horn. And then if you do have any hair spaces left, you can fill those up with whatever color you feel appropriate. So I'm going to actually go with a little bit of orange right there. And I am actually going to move in to more of the straight color. So that way I have a few more areas of contrast. But your call with what you fill up your remaining spaces with. And if you need to add more. And I am taking this straight orange. I'm going to do this with all the colors and going back on where I put the lighter oranges and just kind of giving it a deeper shadow element. Let's see, I want more of that purple too. I do like that purple. Let's go in with that direct purple. Let's get a few more hairs filling in. And when you're on the hair, just imagine that your brush is moving in the direction of the hair. That helps. And again, remember to look at your painting from that distance of 5 to 10 feet away. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel, hit the subscribe button, like this video, and feel free to check out any of the demos that I've done. If you scroll down on my page, you can see the future demos I'll be doing. And if you've got something that you want me to create, just leave a comment and I'll add it to the list. And you can also see the past demos that I've created. So feel free to check those out and find your creative outlets as often as you can. And when you're ready to kind of do a few more in-depth courses, jump on over to my Paint with Lovejoy page, website, paintwithlovejoy.com, and check out some of the more involved courses. My Paint Your Pet is a very popular course where you'll learn about your value scale. And when you paint something that you love, it makes a huge difference in the learning curve. And all of my videos are geared towards first-time and beginner painters. That is kind of my niche market. So I am here to help you and take away some of the scariness. Like it doesn't need to be an intimidating process. We are all creative. So check those out. Check out other teachers on YouTube. There's a lot of really good people out there giving demos and instructions. And I recommend learning from a lot of different instructors and taking the parts that work for you. You may hear something in one of my classes or my videos, but it might not make a whole lot of sense, or it's confusing. And then maybe another teacher explains the same thing I did, but in a new perspective, and it makes more sense to you. So no matter what you're doing in life, get your information from a lot of different sources. All right, oh, we've got one more, I guess, nodule, whatever you want to call it, on the unicorn. Make that whatever color you want. All right, so I'm going to put a few little highlights on there, and then I'm going to go back in with, I think, purple, and give her some eyelashes, a little nose, and a mouth. You can do it with the black if you choose to, but I would wait for it to fully dry before you do your outlines. All right, so clean your brush really good. We're going to do white paint, and I'm going to be putting highlights in a couple of different areas. And I'll probably wipe my brush off after each time and then go back to reapply since we have so many colors on here. So just kind of mimic where you see me placing some of these to the best of your ability. And by putting this white on here, it just gives us that third value, a brighter value, and helps create this illusion on a flat surface. Please send me your photos. Quite a few of you are doing that, and I love it as I'm drinking my coffee in the morning, just seeing what you guys are creating, how you're interpreting it, how excited you're getting to create new things. So please send me those pictures. Tag me in social media as well, because by you sharing your work, it actually encourages other people to try painting. It amazes me how many people are scared to paint. So you are now an ambassador of the arts, and it's your duty to help other people realize that they are creative. All right, so again, I'm just placing this white in some specific areas. This gives us a highlight. So just pause the video and notice where I'm placing them and do your best to just kind of mimic that. Does not have to be perfect. Perfection is highly overrated. All right. Oh, let's give this little leg down here a bit of a highlight, and the hooves. All right. Oh, cool. We got a few more people joining. Thanks. Glad you guys are liking the cute unicorn. All right, so now, because again, I'm actually still sticking with the fact that I'm not using black paint. So I am going to use a mixture of purple and blue, or you can use just your purple. And I'm going to go over where the eyelashes are, the nose, and the mouth. And then that should bring us to the conclusion of this video. And with this, like I said, do let your paint dry before you do this so you don't contaminate your colors. And if you need to, you can kind of twirl your brush as it comes out. You do want to kind of bring your bristles to that nice tip. And then if you treat your brush kind of like a pencil and just use the tip of it, it makes it easier to make some of your small lines. And again, remember to breathe. Let's give her some eyelashes. If this scares you a lot, you know, and I know my first time painters, it's kind of intimidating to make small little lines. Let your paint dry and then use a Sharpie marker. But I do recommend doing it with the paint just because you're getting more practice, and that's good for you. All right. If you want to add any little sparklies or stars or extra little things on your painting, please do that. And like I said, send me a picture, email paintwithlovejoy@gmail.com, or you can tag me in social media @paintwithlovejoy. And then, like I said, let me know suggestions of what you want for next week. I think I've got most of next week filled up with subjects, so we'll keep adding on. But I am here every day at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, so feel free to check these out, check out the other videos, and I greatly appreciate everybody's support. So thanks for taking time out of your day and painting with me. Have a great weekend, guys. Cheers.